People at the Beijing International Airport froze the moment they heard a small child shout, "Baba, wait for me." The word echoed across the departure hall, clear, loud, undeniable. Cameras turned instantly. Security guards stiffened. And the man who stopped and looked back was Wang Yibo himself. For a few seconds, the entire airport seemed to forget how to breathe. Because standing beside him was a woman no one had ever seen before, and a little boy who looked strikingly like him. No one expected to witness such a moment. Wang Yibo is known for being incredibly private, silent about anything personal, and allergic to rumors. Yet here he was, luggage in one hand, a toddler gripping the other, as the woman reached forward to adjust the child's jacket with familiar tenderness. Whispers spread instantly. Who was she? Was this real? Was this actually his family? What made it even more shocking was Yibo's reaction. Instead of stepping away or hiding, he bent down, tied the boy's shoelace, and said softly, "You almost tripped. Be careful next time." Fans standing nearby watched the scene with their mouths open. The resemblance between them was impossible to ignore. Same sharp eyes, same expression, same serious little frown. A few people instinctively raised their phones, but security quickly moved in, politely asking everyone not to record. Still, the moment had already burned itself into the memory of dozens of witnesses. The mysterious woman wore a simple white cap and a loose jacket, the kind of outfit celebrities use to avoid attention, but even then, her smile gave her away. She wasn't nervous. She wasn't pretending. She looked too comfortable by his side. As the family walked together toward the private check-in counter, staff reacted with shock of their own. Yibo rarely traveled without a mask or at least a layer of disguise, yet today, it seemed he had chosen openness over secrecy. The little boy tugged on his sleeve again, pointing excitedly at a toy store. Yibo glanced at the crowd, then nodded, whispering something to the woman, who laughed quietly and followed the child. Airport staff claimed later that Yibo stood by the entrance of the store, arms folded, watching protectively while the boy ran around pointing at toy cars. He didn't hide his affection, he didn't pretend not to know them. Everything about his body language looked natural, practiced, familiar, like a man who had been a father for longer than anyone knew. Witnesses said the woman eventually placed a small cap on the boy's head and Yibo paid without hesitation. The cashier stared but kept her professionalism. Moments later, Yibo reached down, lifted the child effortlessly, and rested him on his hip. The boy wrapped his arms around Yibo's neck as if it was the most normal thing in the world. That single gesture sent waves of shock through everyone watching. As they left the store, a fan quietly approached. She didn't ask for a photo. She simply bowed slightly and whispered, "We support you." Yibo nodded politely but didn't speak. The woman gave the fan a small grateful smile before they continued walking toward the VIP departure entrance. More witnesses came forward afterward describing the same thing, the way Yibo carried the child, the way the woman walked beside them like someone who had been part of his life for years, not days. No one sensed any discomfort or secrecy, only a quiet confidence and a level of closeness that couldn't be faked. When they reached the private lounge area, a moment happened that sealed the rumor in everyone's mind. The child began to cry softly, frightened by the crowd gathering too close. Yibo immediately turned around, shielded the boy with his body, and whispered calming words. The woman placed a reassuring hand on the child's back, creating a warm circle around him. At that moment, no one saw a superstar. They saw a father and a husband trying to comfort their family. Security eventually escorted them inside, but before the door closed, staff reported hearing the boy laugh again after Yibo made a small airplane noise to cheer him up. The woman's laughter followed, soft and genuine. That image, Wang Yibo holding a child who clung to him tightly while a woman leaned against his shoulder, stayed with everyone who witnessed it. Rumors began roaring across social media immediately, but airport personnel insisted on one thing: Yibo never denied anything, never looked embarrassed, and never acted like he was hiding. In fact, he seemed relieved, as if he was finally done keeping a secret. Whether this was a private family trip, a long-awaited reveal, or simply a rare moment where the world caught a glimpse of his real life, one thing is clear, no one who saw him that day will ever forget it. The quiet tenderness in his gestures, the protective way he held the boy, and the calm acceptance of the woman beside him all painted a picture far more powerful than any rumor. Maybe one day he'll speak publicly. Maybe he won't. But for now, the image of him at that airport, fatherly, gentle, unguarded, has already changed everything. And fans around the world are left wondering, has Wang Yibo been building a private happiness all along, right under everyone's nose? Only time will tell. Even after the lounge doors closed behind them, the shockwaves outside didn't stop. Witnesses kept replaying the moment in their minds, trying to understand how something so private had suddenly unfolded in front of ordinary travelers. But inside the lounge, something even more unexpected happened, something no one except a handful of staff would ever see. A flight attendant entered the VIP room to offer refreshments and quietly confirmed later that the atmosphere inside didn't feel like a celebrity trying to hide a scandal. Instead, the room felt warm, gentle, and surprisingly normal. The child was sitting on Yibo's lap, swinging his legs while Yibo helped him sip orange juice with both hands around the cup to avoid spills. The woman sat close beside them, smiling in a way only someone deeply familiar with the moment could. People who passed by the glass noted how Yibo leaned toward the woman occasionally, speaking softly. His gestures were small but intimate, a slight touch on her shoulder, the way he adjusted her mask when it slipped, or how he placed the boy gently between them so the child felt secure. These weren't the actions of someone testing a new relationship. They were the movements of a man comfortable in a life the public had simply never seen. As boarding time approached, they stood together. The little boy reached for Yibo's hand immediately, and Yibo instinctively intertwined their fingers. The woman adjusted the boy's backpack, bright blue with tiny cartoon rockets, before Yibo lifted him up again, resting him on his hip as naturally as breathing. A cleaner in the hallway later testified that the moment the door opened, the boy pointed excitedly at the airplane outside the window. He shouted, "Baba, Feiji." Plane. Yibo chuckled softly, pressed a quick kiss to the boy's hair, and whispered something that made the child squeal with laughter. The cleaner said it was the softest expression she had ever seen on Wang Yibo's face. When the family began walking toward the private boarding gate, a few remaining passengers noticed something that struck them deeply. The woman slipped her arm through Yibo's free arm, not in a dramatic or romantic gesture, but as if she'd done it 1,000 times before. And Yibo allowed it, even leaning slightly toward her, as though her presence grounded him. The closer they got to the aircraft, the more undeniable it became that they had a rhythm, a unity, something formed over years, not months. The little boy reached for Yibo's cap, placing it crookedly on his head. Yibo didn't fix it. He simply laughed.